Okay, class, I wanted to give you just a good idea of not necessarily how to find references, because hopefully you know how to find those as we've spoken this week about databases, but as I look in the discussion board this week, I think it might be useful to share how to gather the citation information from those resources and some of the tools that are, or at least one of the tools that's available to help us to do that. So I'm here in ERIC under EBSCO host, and I'm doing a search for iPad, which is something that I search for. We're actually doing a study this semester on iPads, in addition to the study that you'll help out on, which is a survey of teachers' technology use. So let's say I find a great article right here implementing iPads in the inclusive classroom setting. And by the way, as a reminder, in these databases you can often just click on peer reviewed so that you eliminate anything that's not, and you can change the dates to go more recent. And also you can choose a publication type on these searches as well, so you can limit to publication types, and that's under advanced search here. And when you do that, you can actually choose publication types that are only research reports, basically. So for your literature review, you want to have you want to have mostly research reports of a research study rather than anything else. And so that's a good way to limit these results. Alright, and that's under publication type when you do an advanced search. Anyway, let's say I like this source right here, implementing iPads in the inclusive classroom setting, and I want to be able to cite this in my paper. So here's all the information, and a hard way to do this would be to take this information and format it in APA format myself. An easier way is to go right here and choose Cite, and then I can copy and paste this reference from the APA format, that's what we're using in this class, to right here in my paper. So copy and paste it in there. It was already in there before, but there it is. We have a references list. This would go in my references list, and then up here would be my narrative. iPads can have a strong effect on learning in the classroom, and then I would cite it using APA format. Of course, I would have to type this out though myself, just using the information from the reference. Type it out, and I've got it in my literature review. Well, that way is not the easiest way to do things. There are things called reference managers that can help us to do this much more efficiently and much easier. And the problem with these, though, is that you do have to install them in your computer and have them running, and you'll have to do that on your own. But let me just show you how that can work. So what I have here is a tool called Zotero. I'll go to their website just to show you what it looks like. It's zotero.org, and you can go to Zotero and you can download and install this. It installs into Firefox, which is a web browser, and I'm on Firefox right now working on that. Once I have Zotero downloaded and installed, I can go to an article like this one that I'm already into. Actually, I'll go back real quick, just go into the article itself, not the citation area. So I'm in this article right here, and there's this Zotero link that has been added to my browser in Firefox. And if I click on this link, it will add this citation into my Zotero library. And I'm hitting that Z right there, and this is what Zotero looks like. It pops up down at the bottom of Firefox, and I have these folders here that I can organize. So I usually organize one per paper that I'm writing or one per area of interest that I have. And it looks like it's going a little slow. I've got some transferring going on my computer, so it might take a moment. Alright, so let's say I have this iPad comprehension folder that I want to add this implementing iPads in the inclusive classroom setting article into. Then I can click on this button right here, and what it does is it sucks that item right into my list, iPad comprehension under Zotero. What's cool about this too is that it keeps track of all of my things that I put in here. I have thousands of articles that I have added to Zotero, and I can just do a search in here for them. So now notice down here in this list, in this folder, I have implementing iPads in the inclusive classroom setting. It has the authors, and it has an EBSCO record. Now, if there is a PDF available, it will also take that PDF and stick it in Zotero as well, so that I can just review it without having a connection to the internet. And notice when I click on this over here, it shows that it's an item type, it has the authors, it takes all the information that I need to generate a citation for it. So that is a nice tool because it keeps track of all the things I've been reading under certain topics. And I can choose create bibliography from item, and that will actually create a nice research citation to go right here as well. So I can copy and paste that right in there. It looks the same, right? It's the APA formatted bibliography automatically created for me. But that's not even how cool Zotero can be. So let's say I get rid of all these references and everything. Oops, I need to add this reference, add a place for the references list though. So this will be the references list right here, and this is where I'm citing it. So there's actually an attachment that you can install in Microsoft Word, and you can go to Zotero and you can hit, and it has a new tab basically in Microsoft Word that it adds, and you can hit add edit citation, not add and edit citation. What that does is it asks you, okay, what format do you want your citations in? And you can have multiple different formats. Of course, for this class, we're doing American Psychological Association 6th edition. And I hit OK on that. And then it allows me to add that citation in using this little field here. So I can actually add that citation in now. Let me see if it comes up. You can start typing the name of it, or you can start typing the author or somebody. So that, yeah, there's the name. I can just click on that and then hit enter. And what's great is that Zotero generates the citation for me nice and quickly. And it creates its own little field here. And so I've got this nice sentence here. Let's say I have another citation, like you're going to do with your literature review. You might have multiple citations. I'm just making things up right now. And I can cite another citation here by hitting Add Edit Citation. And I can do a search, and let's see, hit enter on that one. And I've got all these citations, let's say. I'm adding them up using Zotero. And down at the bottom, I can just hit under the references for this. Now that I'm finished, let's say, with a full literature review, it's several pages long, I go to the reference list, I go to put my cursor right here, and then I choose Insert Bibliography. And it basically looks at these two sources, or whatever sources you might have in there, and it generates a bibliography from those sources. So it's quite a nice tool. It very quickly adds those into your document. And let's say I later remove one of these sources or add a new one, then I just have to hit refresh, and it will take that one out from the references list. So it keeps track of anything that I might add or remove. It will add it in to the references list or remove it based on what I need. So this can be a very nice tool. This is how Zotero is very similar to how most reference managing software works. And Zotero, though, happens to be free. So it's nice. You can download it and use it for free. It's an open source software tool, and I do recommend using it because you can gather information from all kinds of different sources. Now let me take a look at just another example here. I'll go back to Firefox, and I'll go to Google Scholar as another source. So I'm just going to type in Scholar. I do like to use Google Scholar for some of my searches as well. It tends to find things that some of the databases just don't have in them. It is sometimes hard to differentiate, though, peer review. And it gives you tons of results all the time. It's hard to really narrow the results down, so that's an issue. But it usually presents the most, I guess, relevant at the first. Okay, so let's say I like this, an iPad education. Or no, let's say I like this one, a case study of iPad adoption and use in a primary school. So with Zotero, I can actually click on the folder button here, and I can say, all right, let's see, iPad in education, a case study of iPad adoption. I can click on that one and say that's the one that I want in my folder, and hit OK. And then again in Zotero down here, it's going to add that to my folder. And it looks like I already had that one in my folder, so it added another one. And again, it's got all of the information that I need, so now I can read the article. And then when I'm ready to cite the article, let's say I'm going to cite something like this, and I just want to cite it with APA format. I don't have to worry so much about APA format because Zotero helps me to do that. I do need to know APA format because Zotero isn't always perfect. And I have run into that quite a few times actually, but I don't have to create everything from scratch. In other words, you want to go through and cite things like this, finish your writing, and then later on go through and just make sure everything's according to APA format in your citations. So again, I'm going to take this. Like I said, I'm transferring files today, so Zotero is going to be a little bit slow. But it should come up momentarily and allow me to again add that same citation in, and then it will automatically add it to the references list as well. So really that's how Zotero's works, and it's a very nice tool for citations. Well, it's really pausing and stalling, so I'm going to go back here and try to get things to work again. Okay, finally it works. And I can just again do a search for iPad in my Zotero library and my source will come up and I can add that in there. So I should type in case study. Also, I wanted to introduce another way that you can find sources. So here it is, I'm going to add that in there. Alright, so notice how I added the citation in there, it also added it down here in the references list. It also alphabetizes the references list automatically for you. So that's a nice way to do things. Alright, now let's go back to Firefox here. And I'm just going to open up a PDF of a file that I've been reading about. And another good way to find sources beyond, I think, what most of you have been doing is, let me close Zotero, is to go to the bottom of an article. So you may be reading an article, you might see some of these citation items. If you go down to the bottom to the reference list, you might find some useful references as well there. So for instance, down here you can see Car D, computer games in classrooms and the question of cultural baggage. Maybe that's something that might be interesting to you. So as you are reading articles, you can find extra articles that are in the references list to maybe look up as well and see if you can access some of those. Now, not every article in the world can you access with Northern States databases. That's just the way it is with any college. You only have certain databases you can access. But a lot of times you can find things on Google or Google Scholar. These tend to be a little bit older, of course. If you're citing an article, it's going to be older than the article that's written. But they can be useful sources of information for you as well. So hopefully that helps you. It's a primer of what reference managers can do for you and how they can save you some time. And I thought I should share that this week to help you get going on your literature review.